verse brother and sister. Where is it inspired from? To me, what we're going through right now. Danielle, I'm going to ask you, man and woman, brother and sister, what are the first things that come to your mind? Right away. Spit them out. Man and woman.
Husband and wife.
Husband and wife. Okay. What else?
Oh gosh. Relationship. Power, surrender.
What are those words to you? Just curious. They're not right or wrong. Just curious.
The power that a couple can have, or the power that man has in the world.
Okay.
And then surrendering, like women surrender to their husbands, and man and woman surrender to God. That's how I portray it, anyway.
Okay. To me, let's move over. Brother and sister. What do you got now?
Family.
Okay. Anything else?
Not really. Besides siblings, but
Nothing else.
no.
Okay. What about men and women? What do you think of? Not just man and woman, but now men and women. So we're making it plural.
Population.
Yeah, population. Yeah. What else?
I don't really have anything else.
Nothing. What about for brothers and sisters, not just brother and sister?
I guess neighbors.
You would say neighbors?
Because of what we've been talking about and how my brain is being conditioned, I would say neighbors, but it's not
Is that how
something
you feel?
no, it's not something that I truly feel.
Okay, so then we're not gonna put that up there for your sake, for me putting that up there yet, okay?
For my sake, it ends there.
Okay, alright. For me, man and woman, I think of
I was thinking that right before you wrote it. It popped into my brain.
I personally just think of Adam and Eve. I think of separation. I really don't have anything else. I suppose divorce, sadly, but then I also think of love. When I think of divorce, personally, when I think of divorce, I'm forced to think of love. Kind of like darkness and light.
Okay.
It's kind of weird. That's just how my brain works.
It's funny how I think dark and you think light, but then I think love and you think divorce.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I'm thinking of all of them, right? And then so brother and sister, definitely family, siblings. I think of God.
Like brothers and sisters in Christ.
Yeah, I think of kingdom, heaven, unity. I think of children, and that to me is really a big one. interpretation. Children.
Can I say something on the word children really quick? In the Bible, there's a verse that talks about, like, we will always be children to God. And I think that's really cool because a lot of people in this world think, like, okay, their child's growing up and they're no longer really children. But, in quotes, but in the Bible, it's literally, you are a child of God. You will always be a child of God. Nothing will ever take that away. And I thought that was really powerful. I just read it the other day.
Well, I'm glad that you took that in a positive way. That's where to touch on this outer stuff that wasn't on the board the last time, perception, perspective, that children thing is the way I'm trying to kind of, I've been so grateful to perceive myself as that child. Why do we fall? To learn to get back up. Batman quotes, But a child is somebody that you have grace with and understanding with. You might get frustrated with because they're making similar mistakes, but at the end of the day, they're a child. And like a little small seed that you plant in the garden, it's going to get nurtured and grow. And I think that's what's cool about God in the way you're suggesting you felt that or saw that in the Bible or wherever you said you saw it. To me, that's exactly what we're trying to get here. So as I just wanted to put on some things, mind, body, to me is, less than the importance of soul, only in the sense that flesh versus spirit, and in that sense, as we go down, brain food for health. You said something in the last little thing we did with the Bible in Luke 11:34 stood out to me. I'd never even heard it because I'm not well studied in the Bible. Although I'm doing my best at starting to be more open to reading the Bible. You say, or not you say, but you said that you read Luke 11:34, which says, "Your eye is the lamp of your body. When your eye is healthy, your whole body is full of light. But when your eye is unhealthy, your body is full of darkness." So after that whole, darkness spiel, which wasn't too big, we actually kind of contained it. It was a lot more talking. I thought that was worth putting on the board for just reminder, planting seeds. And then over here, as we have man versus woman, or man and woman versus brother and sister, it's not verse like the way it could be perceived, in comparison to or of versus, a competition's headline. Dodgers versus, New York Yankees, whatever it could be, or, Cowboys. We get it. I can go on and on and on.
That's not our sport.
I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to that sport. Excuse me. But I just go on with this is obviously my interpretation. As it's nice to share it with you, Danielle, and whoever else might follow or listen. What is reasoning or rationale? This is effort on our end or my end to knock at our own self door in effort to better grasp relevance through faith in God, found in Jesus Christ, as it seems to be fleeting from birth, based on biblical teachings. That is no accident. We are where we are, cause and effect. I believe you can only control so much. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. I know I've been that horse. Plenty of good wisdom around me, and I didn't really buy him. So
I think it's neat when you say by fleeting from birth, because a lot of people may not understand what that means. And I think the more that we're in this world, that's when our true self fleets from us, because we're being taught and pulled in so many directions, when really there is one book, one way that we can live, and it's all right there. But because of school and the world and everything else, that can easily be stripped away from us.
Again, I'm just stating what I believe to be true. based off of biblical teaching. I think it goes back to Adam and Eve and what I believe the Bible teaches us. It's my choice to believe. I can't deter it anymore. Back to what we talked about in the last one. It's how I'm deterring darkness, and it's awesome. It's really cool, and I'm happy to share it. Not in a preaching way, not to condemn preaching. I just think that this stuff is relative, and even for those that don't want to see it in a faith-based sense, I just think it's intriguing. It's something we all might question or talk about, and so I'm going to take it into this extent of, right now we've got this canvas and it's just us two. We've talked about the perception, perspective. We can see different things. We've just got a neighborhood. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 houses that, if those are houses, right? They got a roof. No windows, apparently. But I left it that way so we can just kind of play with, who lives in the neighborhood. Okay? And just having fun with this board. Literally, I wanted to kind of dive into these two topics. And to me, the center of it, we'll get to, certainly. But let's go ahead and put house number 1. What do you want? Family? You want a single person?
Single guy.
Single guy?
Single man.
Okay. Man. Okay. And know that in this setting right now, I want to discuss publicly that I am certainly not discriminative of the world we're in the way people are identifying. I believe in man and woman. I believe in God. I believe in the constants that I choose to believe in. I'm not suggesting that because I suggest things, they mean they're fact or gospel. So I think I want to touch on this with you, not that you and I have had this conversation, but we are in a world where there's that, unidentified, neutral. I don't even know it's such a gray area for me as I've not walked into that. And I don't want to act as if I'm insensitive too. So, let's just take it wherever you want to take it, but I did want to touch on that because I'm not here to, there's people that I think are perceiving or in a place of unknown, and in a world that allows that. So, we have a single guy, 1. House number 2, not that they're numbered. Family. And woman. Little boy. Little girl. Whatever.
Okay. And then a man and a woman.
Okay.
2 men.
Okay.
1 woman.
Okay.
Another family. Family with 1 kid. A man. Next row, newlyweds, a man and woman.
You're obviously a man with 1 kid. A woman with 1 kid. 2 women maybe with 2 kids. There's certainly so many different variables, right?
Yes.
A woman with 2 kids, man, woman, man, woman, 2 kids. We didn't even put a house of, this is a pretty low key block. Straight up.
Is that one for sale at the end?
We're down here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have a quote unquote model house
Okay.
just for fun. But I mean, this is all perception in some sense. So we've got a pretty low-key community here, not too many people in each and every house. Who knows how big these houses are? But the issue I have right now, not as if it's an issue, but we talked about the darkness in the last round. What is darkness? To me, the biggest issue I wanted to discuss was, that separation, that feeling of darkness inside of ourselves. Is that separation from our soul and our spirituality and our faith and our, who is God, who are we? I don't know, but I just know what I've experienced, and it's quite interesting when I've opened up and talked to a lot of brother and sisters that I have. And I only have that due to my faith in God. Although I never suggested that I was not a brother and a sister to people.
You just didn't think about it.
I know that I had and have my siblings. I have my 2 half brothers and I have my 2 half sisters. Didn't get to grow up with them very closely, at least on a regular basis. I was in and out with each one of them, and the best, if not the closest one that I have in my life right now is my littlest sister, as you know, Brooklyn. But that doesn't mean that I don't have any opportunity with my other siblings. It's just me sharing my lack of relationships when it comes to brother and sister, or understanding for. Now, I'm grateful for my faith in God, as it's allowed me to connect to people, seeing people as that brother and sister. My dad raised me to treat people the way you want to be treated. I think that right there planted the seed that, even though I didn't do that very well my whole life, by any means, I'm not saying I did. There's simple rules: do the right thing, do your very best, and third one was treat people the way you want to be treated. No faith in the center of this. It was just simple. And, I taught myself, I learned, can't take all the credit. The universe taught me, the village around me taught me, my failures taught me, my successes, the happy moments. And I guess that's what I'm trying to talk about right now is we've got, to me over here, it's just separate. It's just separate, bottom line. On this side, we've got, as you said, first thing, family. You almost left it at that. That's profound to me. And in a world of darkness right now, where we're being pulled apart for our health, and fear for it. It's scary. It's really scary. It's sad. I'm going to fight for that. I'm going to want to share with my family, my brothers and sisters. Now, does everyone identify to me as family? No. And I understand that. I can't control that. It's not my job to label you as an enemy. You think I'm an enemy, that's fine. But that's not my job. So, within my faith, where I've gotten to, thank God for that grace, and I suppose maturation, I feel as if I have an understanding as to the neighbors. And being more mindful of the neighbors, I'm learning more about. Yeah, through some funny experiences, one of which is right underneath my feet. It's love thy neighbor. It's love thy neighbor, and I'm getting so much more of an understanding of what that means. hard to love thy neighbor when we don't love ourselves. And that's kind of where I guess this whole thing was going. Daniel. And I know you kind of just, you had no idea where I was going to take it. It's so open-ended. I've done a lot of talking, as you know I can do. Dive in if you want, if you got anything. Again, to me this is about love by
I think it's important to point out that, for instance, I've always lived on either a cul-de-sac or a pretty close-knit street where we were fortunate enough to know our neighbors, and really, like, it was a block party. Like, we were a really tight-knit group. My family's really close with the parents, and I grew up with the kids, and I think it's important to note that when we talk about love thy neighbor in thy neighborhood, like, we aren't just talking about the people on your street, but we're talking about everybody in the world. And I know that you've witnessed me experiencing that, and it's as simple as, like, the checker at the grocery store is also your neighbor or your brother and sister. Like, we're all supposed to be connected and trying to love each other, and I know I've had a really hard time with that just because of hospitality and turning off the switch of, like, when I'm off the clock, I just want to relax and do my own thing, and I kind of just walk through the world in my own head sometimes. But taking the extra second to not even, like, use it as work, but just really connect with people, because you never really know where you could lead yourself or help them. So I think that's something to keep in mind.
Absolutely. I'm happy you brought that up. And that's what I was going to bring up, your hospitality thing, as an example for you to bring up, so you did it for me. It's just, people get tired, people shut down, people blow up, they get freaking exhausted and you know, not just tired in a way of fatigue, but, like, you know, sometimes it's beat down, they don't know how to respond, so they rebel and they come back at you.
Could be going through darkness.
Yeah, and I've talked about it. It's funny. You pinch me, I'll pinch you back. As a child, it's Hot Wheels and Barbie dolls. If you mess and pull with my Barbie doll hair, I'm sure the girl's gonna say, I'm gonna pull that, you know, hers back. And for boys, we're gonna bump each other's cars if we're on the tracks. Or if somebody takes a car, it's gonna we're coming back for your car.
Right.
And maybe two more, or three, who knows. So it's a weird, it's weird, and to get to a point where we can love, and what is love?
It's weird to adjust to, especially when you haven't practiced living this way for so long.
Right.
Or even at all. You know, everyone goes back to elementary school. You're not friends with everybody in the classroom. You're friends with the friends that you choose. But why?
Right.
Why aren't we all friends with each other? We're all in the same place, learning the same thing, doing the same thing, trying to find our way in this crazy world. We should all be friends with everybody.
Right. And I'm with you. This is coming from a guy that, young kid, sad to admit, like, again, going back to the darkness within. Sad to admit the young man that I was. Sad to admit the boy that I was. I say jokingly, but not, because it's not it's not funny.
Right.
I say, you know, I'm the Sid kid. I was the Sid kid. The Toy Story Sid kid. That just blew shit up. I mean, not even in a bad way. And you're like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't meet you then, because I wouldn't like it. I'm like, that hurt my feelings at the beginning, but then I'm like, I get it. She probably wouldn't, and I understand why. Perception.
Right.
But I can tell you about it,
We
and
can
then you
laugh
still
about
sit
it.
there and scratch your head and be like, I'm glad you've changed, or you're not that same guy. But it's funny because I feel like without going through that, I don't know that I could say all the things I'm saying.
Right, you wouldn't be who you are today.
No,
It goes
it's-
for everyone.
it's hard to regret. It's hard to make those changes. I definitely wouldn't go back and do some of the same things over again in my life. By all means. In elementary school, I was not very nice to some people. I was a bully in some sense. I didn't even know what that meant. The whole bullying campaign, yeah, they did a good job of trying to make us aware, just like, you know, any other of those campaigns. But today, the media attention and, you know, the amount of electronic presence to show us, to teach us. I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
So I truthfully, it's again hard for me to wrap my mind around me choosing to be wrong or do wrong. I know I was a punk. I know I've, like I said, going 70 in a 65 or 75 in a 65. If we're going from here to California and speed limits are 75 and I'm going 75 to 85, again, it's all relative.
Yeah.
On how things are looked at. I've done some crazy things in a vehicle, thinking I was invincible. Now I thank God for like grace, and that's what to me this is. Love is grace provided by God. We say love is, you know, the universal language here, and I think there is some truth, but I also don't know. It's like love is fruit. Well, what kind of fruit? Because I've gotten love in so many kind of forms. And so I agree, love is present. It's here, right now, even in the midst of separation, while these houses are maybe 6 feet or more apart. Or the ones like us next door, I could knock through the door if I'm strong enough, punch through the wall and probably scratch somebody in the head or get their attention, you know?
Right.
So we're really close. But I'm more so concerned in our minds. Like, are we going out in the world? Like, we're in a position to protect ourselves, and we're being told to.
Well, that's the thing. You can go out in public, especially in a time right now, and everyone's just kind of doing their own thing. But when it comes to your mind, like, what are you really thinking? Are you thinking as everyone as your brother and sister, and you're thinking in the light, or are you thinking in the dark where it's just separation, can't say hi to people, or there's no parking, or I need that parking space?
Right. Yeah, it's all like whatever you need and when you need it. I mean, right now is a tough time. I'm seeing people in fear. I'm seeing people, you know, in rage. I'm seeing people in agony. I know it's hard. It's a hard time for finances for a lot of people. So there's a lot of mental games that are being played on people. That's reality. You gotta pay your bills. You gotta put food in your stomach. And the only way to do that is through what we believe and know to be true, which is we have to pay for that. And you know, I am just suggesting how valuable it is to not judge somebody that wears a mask. To not just judge somebody that doesn't wear a mask.
Mm-hmm.
We have to find a bridge. We really do. I believe there's a way, and it's through communication, it's through understanding. It's not through just, I see you, you see me, and that's all we get. Like that, if I just shut off the audio on this, and you would need more. Like, what the heck just happened?
Right.
And so that's where I'm not scared, but I am scared for us as humanity if we're gonna let this beat us in a way of the way we're reacting. I'm not saying I'm not trying to overreact by talking about this as if let's fuel fire to something that's already going out. But again, back to baseball. I love baseball. Every freaking thing I do, I can't stress enough how much I feel like baseball has evolved me into the man I am. Just like God, just like the village around me, and all the good and the bad. It's all, it's just who I am. But
I know when you say communication and, you know, communication with outside people as well as households and this and that. It's been so great to do environments and things like this. It's really helped you and I, even though we've got bills to pay, we've got this tagging at us, we got baseball doing who knows what, and there's just so many things going on. But it's like this has been the one thing, being God in our spiritual life, and just our whiteboards and our communication. Like, we thought we had good communication, and I've always thought I'm a great communicator, and I'm sure you have too. But when you get two people together and you kind of just don't really know what to do when you're there together for 24/7, this is really teaching communication, not only to us but to others. And it's really neat to see how it unfolds, because for your mental health, this has been, I mean, we haven't struggled being indoors and quarantined because of the way that we're communicating.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. This has been a tool, and it started with a little freaking whiteboard, and now that little whiteboard is our gym whiteboard.